Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the meeting of Cabinet Staffordshire County Council today, Wednesday, the 19th of February. Agenda item number 1 is apologies. Mr. Bradbury, do we have any apologies for absence?
Good morning, Leader. I haven't received any apologies for today's meeting.
Can I offer the apologies of Councillor DeVille and Councillor Pert, please? And Councillor Price. Thank you, Councillor Wilson. Duly noted. Thank you. Agenda item number 2, declarations of interest in accordance with Standing Order 16. Does anybody have any declarations of interest? For the record, nobody is indicating. Agenda item 3 are the decision notices of the meetings held on the 15th and the 29th of January 2025. Is it your wish that I sign those off as a correct record of the meeting? Thank you. I got there in the end, Mr. Bradbury. Agenda item 5 is for the record the minutes of the meeting of the Properties Subcommittee held on the 8th of January and the 5th of February 2025. That's for record. In fact, no, I'm going to do agenda item number 4 next. In a break with tradition, I'm doing agenda items 1, 2, 3, then 5, and then back to 4. It's just to keep people on their toes. Agenda item number 4 is the Leader's Statement. As we all know, devolution and local government reorganisation is developing at pace. The government has made clear that all two-tier areas must change to a single tier of unitary local government. This is regardless of whether we agree or not. The deadline for submitting the outline proposals is March the 21st. If the County Council does not submit a proposal, we will have little or no influence over the future shape of local government in Staffordshire. I know our residents expect us to get involved to help inform the future of local government for the area. The government has been clear that the minimum population size for new unitary authorities should ideally be 500,000, and there are a number of options as to how this could look. We are now working through the detail to explore what is right for the residents of Staffordshire, and there will be an additional Cabinet meeting to consider the Council's position on March the 5th, before being considered by full Council on March the 13th. We will, of course, keep our residents and our staff informed at every step of this process. One of the top priorities of the Council is to create the right conditions for people to get good jobs and share in the benefits of economic growth. And we're seeing real success. More people in jobs, up 16% since 2011, more businesses, up 17% since 2011, and wages which are growing faster than the national average. But this isn't really about numbers, this is about people and how the work of the Council creates opportunity. I was thrilled to hear this month the example of Louise Hughes and her team at Lush Occasions, who've been crowned national winners of the 2025 Wedding Industry Awards. Absolutely fantastic. Louise runs her business from Waterside Court Enterprise Centre in Burton, which is one of the 8 enterprise centres we run to support small businesses to grow. I know that Louise values the opportunities and support at the centre, as well as the friendship with other owners, and her business is thriving. We're investing in people's futures in other ways too. This week is Apprenticeship Week, and I'm pleased to announce that this year we'll be hosting the 10th Apprenticeship Graduation Ceremony on the 15th of July at the County Showground. This is a special event and recognises the achievement of apprentices across more than 15 sectors and their contribution to Staffordshire's economy and future. And I was delighted to have been able to attend the graduation ceremony a few years ago. Last year, over 100 apprentices, their friends and family celebrated with us. One of the apprentices you'll hear more about this week is Alex, who completed a demanding 5-year civil engineering apprenticeship at the council. Growing our own talent in areas like this is vital as we look to respond to the challenges we face with maintaining and improving our road network. An extra £8 million of investment into fixing more roads last year has seen us increase pothole repairs by 30% since April 2024 and clean out 35,000 gullies and make 2,600 drainage repairs. But with climate change leading to warmer and wetter winters, our teams will need to use their skills and knowledge to keep innovating and adapting our approach for the future. You'll also hear this week about Joe's apprenticeship journey as he works towards achieving his Level 3 apprenticeship in our Library and Archives service. Joe started his apprenticeship with us after finishing school and is now an important part of the team working across our library service. In partnership with our communities, we are proud to have 43 libraries open in communities across the county. What's more, years of good financial decisions mean that we're able to invest in them too, with £5 million earmarked in our budget proposals this year. Of course, the path to opportunities like Joe's starts at an early age, which is why the continued success of our school attendance campaign, Little Heroes, is so important. We've now seen over 250 primary schools across the county sign up to the programme, and our teachers are telling us it's making a difference, with more children being in school and on time. Staffordshire's people, young and old, are at the heart of everything we do here at the council, and so I wanted to close with a mention of Staffordshire's Dignity in Care Awards. Over the past 10 years, we've seen more than 110 people crowned as Dignity in Care champions to recognise the immeasurable impact they have on people's lives across the county. Nominations for this year's awards are open until the 28th of April, and I look forward to hearing the inspirational stories of dedication, kindness and respect. And again, I've attended those awards on a couple of occasions, and it's absolutely wonderful to see the great people and the contribution that they make to the people they look after. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I am now going to go to agenda item number 6, which is Staffordshire means back to business. Now, I know the poor old deputy leader suffers from the fact that I tend to steal all the best bits of his speech and put it in mine, but that's the benefits of the setup that we currently have. So we're with you, Philip White.
Thank you very much, Leader. Luckily, there's lots of good bits to choose from in Staffordshire. So I'll start just by providing my usual update on the headline figures for our economy. Not in the report because it was only announced this morning, but it is not welcome news that inflation has gone back up from 2.5% to 3%, which affects the entire country, including Staffordshire. So that is not welcome news. Regarding our universal credit claimant count, so job seekers in Staffordshire, we have seen an increase over the last month of 335 claimants in Staffordshire. This reflects increases both regionally and nationally across England. And within that, we've seen an increase of 40 claimants amongst our youth claimant numbers. The reasons for this we'll need to unpick, but obviously we're all aware of the increases in employers' national insurance and other challenges for businesses that may impact on employment. Having said that, Staffordshire remains a very good place to find work and a career. So our unemployment rate at 2.8% of the working age population compares to 3.8% for England and 4.8% for the West Midlands region. So Staffordshire performs very well in that respect. Regarding the youth claimant count, our rate is 4.6% versus 5.1% nationally and 6.8% in the West Midlands. So these are important matters. It is a concern to see that increase in universal credit claimant counts, but it does not change the fact that Staffordshire is a very good place to seek and find a job. Regarding this council's support for businesses who create employment and economic activity, today's a good opportunity to highlight the £11 million direct investment that Staffordshire County Council has made here in our county town in developing Redhill Business Park over a number of years. And I'm pleased to say that that site is now fully built out with 11 high-quality business units that have recently been completed on the last available plot there. The units have been developed by a Lichfield-based company, and they are very much what we want to see in Staffordshire. So they all include solar panels on the roofs and are highly sustainable, and that is, I think, a really good model for the sort of intervention that Staffordshire County Council makes in supporting employment and supporting businesses in our county. Redhill Business Park, incidentally, is home to some of our flagship businesses across the whole county, including General Electric, Saint-Gobain and Omnicron. And we're very much looking forward to welcoming other businesses into those new units over the coming months, which no doubt will be part of another one of these updates. A little bit further afield, and with one of our other very well-known businesses, I was delighted to see this month that JCB has celebrated the delivery of their millionth backhoe loader. It's interesting to note that it took them 59 years to produce the first 500,000 of those, but only 13 years to produce the second 500,000. Quite a striking figure, that, isn't it? And it demonstrates the growth in one of our finest champion businesses there, and growth around the world. And I'm sure all members of Cabinet would like to share in my celebrating of that wonderful milestone for one of our champion businesses. We also continue to see the benefits of our work to support smaller businesses to start and grow in Staffordshire. We've heard a little bit this morning about a very successful business in one of our enterprise centres. And I'll highlight another just to show that there are some others that you haven't already mentioned, Leader. And that's the accountancy firm Sempar, who've grown from a two-person team when they started up in Lymedale to an annual turnover now of over £2 million, employing 30 people in that centre. And this is the sort of growth that we support here at Staffordshire County Council. It is very important to us. To support their growth, the company has moved into larger premises in Stoke on Trent on a temporary basis, but will soon be relocating to Keele University's Innovation Centre, another joint venture that Staffordshire County Council and Keele University have worked on to support employment in the north of the county. It's hugely pleasing to see companies like Sempar continue to thrive, and it's really good to see that throughput through our enterprise centres, which are designed to help businesses to get started and grow, but then move on out into the big wide world as Sempar has done. So congratulations to them as well. We have discussed already in the leader statement Apprenticeship Week, and it is very important that we do celebrate that. But I also wanted to note the work of our Careers and Enterprise Hub, which is one of the areas of activity that Staffordshire County Council and Stoke-on-Trent City Council took over from the local enterprise partnership last year. The Careers Hub is working very closely with a number of schools around the county. We're aiming to be involved with all schools, and we're about 3/4 of the way there now. And I'd just like to mention another one of our champion businesses, Give Energy in Newcastle under Lyme, who've grown significantly since they were established there in 2012. Working with Careers Hub, Give Energy has recently launched one of the UK's first ever careers projects tailored to primary schools. So one of the things that we aim to do as much as we can is to push these sort of careers-based activities down as early into children's school careers as possible, with the aim of building aspiration and building ambition in them. And Give Energy have launched a wonderful programme welcoming teachers from 40 schools to help them understand what manufacturing businesses such as Give Energy do, and then to provide a tailored curriculum in their schools that's age appropriate for primary age children, around getting them to think about what they might want to do in the world of work. So another fantastic Staffordshire business doing something of real value for our young people. And finally, as we're now in the middle of half term, I just want to mention, on a slightly different note, the range of things that we have to do to keep children occupied here in Staffordshire. We are the country's playground, and we have a huge number of activities for people to do across the whole of the county. If you visit Staffordshire online, you will find many of those. But one I will just highlight is the reopening of the Monkey Forest at Trentham Gardens for the 2025 season. They've been doing considerable work there to improve the site, and I, for one, am really looking forward to taking my little monkey there soon to have a look at that. So with that, Leader, I'll hand back to you before I think you hand back to me for the next item.
Thank you. Some great news there. Wonderful to hear all those success stories, so thank you for bringing those to our attention. Agenda item number 7 is the Capital Programme for Schools 2025 to 2026. With Councillor Price not being available, the Deputy Leader, Councillor White, is going to step into the breach. For those who perhaps weren't here at the time, Councillor White was the portfolio holder for education at one point. So whilst ordinarily I'd say be gentle with him, given the fact he has expertise in the portfolio, then feel free to ask any questions that you might have. Councillor White, we're with you.
Thank you for that, Leader. It's really, really appreciated. As you say, I previously had this portfolio, and it was my pleasure to be able to hand it on to Councillor Price, who has taken it much further forwards since it's been under his purview. But he's unavailable today, so he's given me the privilege of delivering this item to you, and it is a privilege because this is one of, in my opinion, one of the finest things that we do as a local authority, supporting the 125,000 children that we have in Staffordshire in over 400 schools to receive what is fairly consistently an excellent education. But education needs places where you can learn, and the school environment defines that learning experience in many ways for children. Our responsibility is focused on those schools that are still local authority maintained schools. We have a large academy estate in the county, but we still have a large maintained school estate as well. And our capital programme represents a little over £50 million of spending on those schools on an annual basis. And that spending is derived from a variety of funding sources. So we have a capital allocation from central government for schools maintenance. We also have what's called a basic need allocation, which is to create additional school places that are required within the county. We also have a high needs block, which is specifically to cater for the needs of children with special educational needs. And we also have about £8 million of the capital contribution, which comes from Section 106 agreements with developers. So that's the private sector making some contribution towards the additional education requirements that are created by new housing that is built in Staffordshire. So 50 million, £553,443 this year in our capital programme, to be precise. In terms of the priorities for that programme, we have a number of areas that we are focused on that we aim to deliver through this programme. So those are, firstly and most importantly, ensuring that we secure the right number of school places in the right areas in our county, so that children can be educated in the school that their parent or guardian chooses for them. And again, we have a great track record in this respect in Staffordshire, through doing the hard work to plan ahead, and this is a long-form activity, to plan ahead for the school places we need. We have a situation in Staffordshire where well over 90% of our primary and secondary school pupils go to the first choice of school that their parents have made for them, and 99% in both instances go to one of their top 3 choice schools. So really quite an exceptional level of delivery in terms of that. I'll come back to a couple of key school place requirements that we've got going forwards a little bit later. In addition to that, we have a very strong priority to develop our in-county provision for children and young people with special educational needs and disabilities. This is a really key area for all local authorities, and it's outside the scope of this report, but we all know that there is a need for reform of the special educational needs system to put it on a sustainable footing. But our responsibility to the children who have those needs continues, and the capital programme is a key way of delivering the resources those children need, both in specialist provision on its own sites, but also in school provision in mainstream schools, which is a really high priority for us, as many children as possible being educated alongside their peers, but with the adaptation they need to be able to learn successfully. The third area of priority for us is what we like to call safe, warm and dry. So it's the basic maintenance and upkeep of schools, and it's very much what it sounds like. So it's a lot of repairs to roofs and other good things like that. The next key area is around toilets, a slightly unfashionable topic for discussion, but actually a really key thing in terms of the school estate. There are issues in many schools with children who do not go to the toilet when they need to because they feel uncomfortable using the facilities, and so we have a programme that has run for many years creating safe and comfortable toilet spaces for children to use, so that they use them. The other key objective that we have is meeting our climate change and sustainability obligations. So we use a lot of this programme to replace and improve heating systems. It's both good for the environment and also good for the taxpayer because it reduces the costs of running those schools considerably. We also have a final priority, which is around improving the school environment. So that is not condition-driven, but it is about having an impact on the learning experience that students have. Fundamentally, students who feel valued because they're in a school space that feels that it is cared for and where they are being given importance is something which influences learning behaviours in schools, and wherever we can, we're looking to improve schools in that respect as well. So that's a quick run through of the programme. Just two other things I will highlight. I mentioned that basic need provision. I must highlight the excellent progress that we're making with Staffordshire's first all-through school on the old power station site in Rugeley. That is a really significant project for the county, which is due to open. Thank you for that, Leader. Yes, I did get that one started. I wasn't going to mention that, but I'm really proud to have played a part in getting that up and running. It's remarkable how many years they take. But that school will be opening in September, and is a really key missing element in that provision, giving choice to parents in that area of the county in terms of secondary school education in particular, and also one of the most sustainable schools in the country when it opens. The other thing I would just highlight to colleagues, although it is casting our minds forward a little bit, is in terms of our anticipated basic need, which you will find in the appendices, which I encourage your colleagues to look at because it lists all of the projects that are funded through this programme. But at Appendix 6, we have two basic needs projects which will require Cabinet approval in the future, and those are a new secondary school to the north of Stafford, and a new primary school to the north of Stafford as well. So one of our key growth points there in the county, and a really significant investment that colleagues will be asked to make in a meeting to come. With that, Leader, I will pause to hopefully invite lots and lots of questions, and then I can move on to the recommendations when you're ready.
I think we'll all agree that your previous level of expertise on the subject was shining through there, so it was comprehensive, to say the least. Does anybody have any questions, though? No. That's the definition of having done a good job, I think. Over to the recommendations, please.
Thank you, Leader. Okay, so colleagues, I recommend that Cabinet approves the School Capital Programme 25-26 investment proposal as set out in the supporting appendices of this item, authorises the Assistant Director for Commercial and Assets to monitor progress and make any necessary in-year alterations in consultation with the Cabinet Member for Education and SEND, delegates authority to the Deputy Chief Executive and Director of Corporate Services to enter into build contracts for projects in the capital programme with a value of £2 million or above. Other contract awards and modifications will be made in accordance with the Council's procurement regulations. And finally, D, delegates authority to the Assistant Director of Commercial and Assets to approve and complete any legal arrangements required for the delivery of projects on sites where schools are no longer Staffordshire County Council maintained and or where Staffordshire County Council are not the sole owners and need consent of third-party landowners to deliver the projects. I so move.
All those in favour? That is approved. Moving forward then to the Integrated Performance Report Quarter 3, brought to you by myself and Councillor Parry. So just as always, another busy quarter. It is difficult to capture in a document like this how much work goes on behind the scenes. We as politicians, on behalf of the electorate, oversee this to make sure that the council taxpayers' money is being spent wisely and that the organisation is working as we hope it is. But there are always areas of challenge. There are always things that we can do better. There are efficiencies that we've committed to that we have to deliver upon. And there are commitments to future spending that we need to deliver upon to make sure that we're not just spending that money without oversight and control, particularly in highways. And I know the two Cabinet support members here today are working hard in the north and the south of the county to ensure that that is the case. So in broad terms, I think this is our opportunity to flag up those areas where we are having success, but also recognise those areas where we are having challenges and being honest about how we're addressing those challenges and what we're doing to fix any problems that we may encounter. Councillor Parry, is there anything you'd like to say by way of introduction for the report?
Just briefly, Leader, if I may, this is the Q3 report, which sets out the Council's performance across the Council against our strategic plan, our 22-26 strategic plan and annual delivery plan. So this is a kind of how are we doing then, tracked across each quarter. And in terms of tracking our performance, the Council in this report looks at 62 strategic performance measures which have been developed to assess the organisational performance, as well as progress against 18 priority deliverables, which the Council has committed to delivering. Monitoring of both the priority actions and the strategic performance measures alongside our financial position helps the Council to understand the impact of its work and give a more rounded view of performance. So in a sense, what we're saying is there are 18 things which are mission critical that we want to get right, and there are 62 measures that we are measuring to enable us to understand if we are delivering on those objectives. If I may begin, though, Leader, just looking at the finance side, if my laptop will allow me to access that. In Q3, therefore, we're pleased to announce that we, overall as our budget, we are underspent by £0.5%. That's £3.4 million underspent at the third quarter. We're shooting for that to remain similar for Q4, for the year end, and early indications suggest that that's a possibility. Across the organisation, largely our budget heads, if you like, our service areas are pretty much at break-even, or in some cases showing a small saving for a variety of reasons. There is an exception in the area of children's services that we have often talked about in Cabinet, and that's forecast to overspend at £500,000. This reflects obviously the number of children in the care system, which continues to be a pressure, and other costs within the organisation. But we've managed to arrest some of those overspends by the application of grant funding that had been otherwise not allocated, but has been allocated at Q3. So overall, therefore, Leader, pleased to announce a stable and positive position financially across the piece. Although we're depleted as a Cabinet this morning, I would look to Cabinet members to speak to their own areas of performance so that we can add some commentary to this report. I'll move on. Leader.
Councillor Sutton and Councillor Wilson.
Thank you, Leader. One of the key elements of our strategic plan is offer every Staffordshire child the best start in life and the chance to achieve their potential. And to that aim, one of the key tasks we are doing is to ensure the recommendations of the Ofsted report are implemented, and work in that area is continuing at pace. And the Council and officers in Children's Services under the leadership of the Director of Children's Services and our team are committed to improving the quality and the consistency of social care service, children's social care services in an efficient and effective and evidence-based way. You know, and since April, progress has been made across the service to deliver a series of practical measures, and that will continue throughout the next quarter as well. As part of that, we have increase some additional interim improvement in the leadership capacity will help, and that will help to achieve that. And then working together with our partners, we have a new approach to improvement that's agreed with the partners, which will see the development of the Children and Family Strategic Partnership, where we bring together key partners from across the authority area, from police and health and from others, to work together to able to achieve what is required. And a part of that clearly that we've done is the work around corporate parenting, and we have significantly increased the care leaver offer going forward, and that is an absolute necessity, and I really welcome that. On 2 or 3 areas where the performance we're doing is particularly good, and that's around children subject to a child protection plan, which is lower than the same period last year and remains lower than our strategic neighbours, and lower being good in this instance. And the percentage of the initial child protection conferences that we are doing within time has considerably increased. And then the work that we've been doing to deliver the Supporting Families programme, 150 more families are achieving success compared to the previous year. All good things, all going in the right direction. There are still areas that we will need to work on, but we will continue doing that at pace as we go forward. Thank you, Leader.
Could I take this opportunity to pay tribute to the teams in children's services up and down the county? They do a lot of hard work in difficult circumstances. There's stuff that we need to do. I think some of the news out of central government about the desire to restructure local government causes some uncertainty and concern. And I would just want those teams to know that they're on my mind. They really are, because we need them to continue to do a great job. And I'm available to chat if necessary. I'm not sure I can offer much in the way of comfort, but certainly if you could please pass on my thoughts to them, and please continue to do the great job that you're doing in what will be uncertain times, I think would be the best phrase I could use. Councillor Wilson, we're with you.
Good morning, Leader. Good morning, everybody. Well, this quarter overall has been a really positive one for culture, rural and safer communities. And I'll pull out some of the very best stories. Firstly, the implementation of the communities and cultural strategies for Staffordshire that were brought to the Cabinet in September, and they've been promoted within 10 roadshows held in our libraries, in our Country Park Visitor Centre and our brand new Staffordshire History Centre. That was between October and December. Talking about the History Centre, the target for visitors from the moment that the History Centre opened late last year was 1,750 visitors, and I'm delighted to say that actually we met that target by the beginning of December, so that was absolutely superb. And some of the feedback that we've heard is that the History Centre is illuminating, inspiring and informative. It's amazing, it's good for children with learning difficulties. It's apparently what the town absolutely needs, and there have been numerous compliments as well for the staff and the volunteers who have actually welcomed visitors as well. And the media reach has also been very extensive, with over 57 million impressions that have made 100% positive feedback, and the footfall for the History Centre remains high. I think the biggest and the most positive story from my portfolio at the moment is that We were recently judged to be the highest performing service within the West Midlands for our Staffordshire Libraries Reading Challenge. We had nearly 10,000 children participating in the Summer Reading Challenge, delivering many more class visits than ever before. And that can only be really good news for the children of this county in terms of what they're doing. And hopefully this week we'll see the children visiting our libraries and participating in the various projects and groups that are happening there. I could go on, Leader, but I will save room for somebody else. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Pritchard.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Performance is green in our sector. During the quarter, the Highways Transformation Programme remained on track. Work was successfully completed in preparation for the launch of the new CRM system, which took place in January, and that's offering a better experience for our residents. Between April and December, Highways crews repaired almost 28,000 potholes, so that's an average of 153 potholes a day, so it's very high performance. Significant progress has been made to improve the county's drainage systems, with over 53,000 gullies cleared in 2024, nearly 20% more than 2023. The surface dressing programme has been another key area of focus, which helps renew our roads, and crews have covered nearly 1.7 million square metres of road surface between March and October, and a total of 587 roads were treated during that period. Maintenance of the county's network has continued in Q3, with several resurfacing schemes being completed during that quarter, including the A460/M54 junction, Coton Lane, and the A520 Windmill Hill. And we're moving on to deliver even more schemes going forward. In my patch in Tamworth, we have the huge Upper Gungate, Aldergate restoration project. These are the huge structural repair schemes that residents want to see, and those are the sorts of things we're focused on delivering. Yeah.
Councillor Pritchard, they definitely do want to see those repair schemes, and it's interesting to see the response of the local Member of Parliament to the repair schemes that residents have been demanding for years and are now taking place. Yeah, interesting approach to that, I have to say. Councillor Tagg.
Thank you, Chair. In the area of climate change, we've obviously reported at a previous cabinet achieving the 52% reduction in carbon emissions. We've on the 5th year now of our climate change action plan, and we're bringing an update to the next cabinet relating to integrating mitigation and adaptation strategy, which is a key part of, and it touches on the highways agenda, of course, with issues of flooding and how we cope with the changing climate over the next number of years. Also, our Climate Change Action Fund, which is in its 5th year, has funded so far allocated over 312,000 to over 400 successful applications throughout the time that has been running, and an important mechanism for communities to be able to get involved in climate change and all sorts of angles on climate change in their local communities. It is showing us an amber, and that's because of the waiting for the procurement for the electric vehicle rollout, and we expect that to be back on target by Q4. Looking at waste management, we're pushing ahead with our Zero Staffordshire initiative, which is our circular economy, using our household waste recycling sites, brilliant household waste recycling sites that have now been, of course, brought back in-house and going from strength to strength at sites across the county. Reason for the amber there is there is issues in the north with the transfer station, which are being worked through, and we'll see in future reports to Cabinet how we rectify that issue, which will then bring that back into line with green. Thank you.
Thank you. I just will finally touch on health and care, particularly around the CQC inspection that's been taking place. It was reported in the document that you have that we were preparing for the CQC inspection. That has now taken place. Initial feedback has been positive. Within the health and care portfolio, did I ever mention I used to be the health and care portfolio holder? No. So a bit like Councillor White, it's a day of throwbacks. I just want to praise the team for the hard work that they do. Like Children's Services, it's a difficult job, looking after people who need our help and doing it in the best way that we possibly can. Always is financially challenging, but I'm delighted to see the improvement in the portfolio since I stopped being the portfolio holder. So I think that's testament to the my successors and all the hard work that they do, but also particularly to Dr. Harling and the dedication that you've shown to the authority over the past many years. Right, Councillor Parry, we're back with you to sum up and give us the recommendations, please.
Did I ever mention that I ran the portfolio for children and families in terms of, and frankly, it's plateaued since then.
Okay, well, it was the groundwork that you laid, Councillor Parry, undoubtedly.
Just thought I'd throw one out there. No, it's obviously continued to improve in jest. Just simply to recommend then, on behalf of yourself, Leader, and myself as cabinet member, that we note that and challenge the performance and advise of any further information or actions required. I move.
All those in favour? Agreed. Right, Councillor DeVille isn't here today, so the next item on the agenda, the Staffordshire and Stoke-on-Trent Joint Strategic Transport Statement, will be brought to you by myself. This is a portfolio I haven't occupied, and so therefore I would ask you to be gentle, ladies and gentlemen, in your questions and challenges. I have a script. I don't know whether that's the department worried that I might go off-piste, but it's certainly going to keep me on track. I'm delighted to bring this joint strategic transport statement that has been produced collaboratively with Stoke-on-Trent City Council and confirms our joint commitment to a shared transport vision. We have done this work jointly because we have shared boundaries with people, businesses and goods moving between them, and because the evidence shows that we have a fairly self-contained area economically, with over 80% of people living in Staffordshire and Stoke-on-Trent working in the area. The joint statement allows us to clearly set out our transport priorities aligned to our individual local transport plans and set out the strategic case to government for investment. It explains why it is critical that government invests in our area to meet the diverse needs of our growing number of households and businesses and unlock greater national connectivity. It reflects on the current transport opportunities and challenges facing our area. The opportunities include our strategic location for rail and road, our relatively self-contained settlements alongside strong links with our neighbours. The issues we face are high car ownership and traffic delays, inequalities linked to health and access to jobs, 1 in 5 with no access to a car, varying qualities of transport networks, and high carbon emissions. Our joint statement sets out some key areas for intervention, including improving transport links across key corridors, investing in the 5500 project, strengthening connectivity in North Staffordshire, including Stoke-on-Trent, improving connections to the West Midlands, and strengthening key corridors running through the heart of our area. This document will also be considered by the Leaders Board, showing how important this is for the whole of Staffordshire and Stoke-on-Trent. Are there any questions? Right, that's excellent, thank you. But before I move on to the recommendations, what I would like to do is just heap praise on a lady called Annabelle Chell, who's one of our officers in the department. Mrs. Chell has worked for Staffordshire County Council for years, and her level of expertise in this area is incomparable. And actually, it's in many respects down to her hard work and dedication that we have this report here before us in its full form. Mr. Atkinson, thank you too for your contribution to it. I know you've played a key role with it as well, and I don't seek to undermine that in any way, but I do know that Annabelle has worked particularly hard on this, and thanks to Annabelle. So the recommendations are that we approve the joint strategic transport statement and agrees that let me start again. Cabinet approves the draft strategic transport statement and agrees the Director of Economy, Infrastructure and Skills signs the statement on behalf of the County Council, delegates any final amendments to the joint strategic transport statement to the Director for Economy, Infrastructure and Skills in consultation with the Cabinet Member for Strategic Highways and the Leader. They are the recommendations. All those in favour?
Agreed.
That is approved. Agenda item number 10 are the decisions taken by Cabinet members under delegated powers. There are 2. from the Cabinet Member for Strategic Highways in approving the decision to end the current moratorium on capital footway operations from February 2025 rather than April 2025, 2 months ahead of the plan reported to Cabinet in March 2024. And second, the Cabinet Member for Education and SEND in approving the admission arrangements relating to the admissions to community and voluntary controlled schools. They are the two decisions taken under delegated powers. I move then to the forward plan. The following items are brought forward in March in public. The recommissioning of supported living care services, brought to you by the Cabinet Member for Health and Care, Jeremy Pert. Climate Change Action Plan revision, brought to you by the Cabinet Member for Environment, Infrastructure and Climate Change, Councillor Tagg. Highways and Transport Capital Programme 25-26, brought to you by the Cabinet Member for Strategic Highways, Councillor DeVille. Devolution and Local Government Reorganisation, brought to you by myself. Doxy Road Stafford Levelling Up Fund Update, brought to you by the Deputy Leader of the Council and Cabinet Member for Economy and Skills, Councillor White. And then moving into private in March, the NHS Outwards Project, brought to you by the Cabinet Member for Health and Care, Councillor Pert. Staffordshire Warmer Homes, approval of spend plans for the Warmer Homes local grants, brought to you by the Cabinet Member for Environment, Infrastructure and Climate Change, Councillor Tagg, in partnership with the Cabinet Member for Health and Care, Councillor Pert. Moving then into April, in private, the contract award of the Local Authority Social Care Case Management System, brought to you by the Cabinet Member for Children and Young People, Councillor Sutton, and the Cabinet Member for Health and Care, Councillor Pert. I think that's being brought forward to March, 5th of March. So revise that, that's being brought forward to the 5th of March. The Integrated Performance Report Quarter 4 24-25, brought to you by myself, will be postponed. The Community Learning Accountability Statement and Agreement 25-26, brought to you by the Deputy Leader of the Council and Cabinet Member for Economy and Skills, Councillor White. And then finally in April, Unregulated Placement Updates, brought to you by the Cabinet Member for Children and Young People, Councillor Sutton. Beyond that, there's an election. So there is a forward plan, but it remains to be seen what the electorate say and what that forward plan looks like after that election. Ladies and gentlemen, there are no items, excluded items, so with that, an agenda item 12, the meeting is closed. Thank you.